someone that amazingly is able to keep an eye on both the college football game and the National Football League. Analyst for the NFL Network, Fox Sports, and it's about to get really busy for him. Friend of the show, class act, of course, a former Vol, CFD22 on Twitter. That would be one Charles Davis. Charles, how the heck are you, sir?
I'm doing well, doing very well. It's good to hear your voice. Appreciate the nice intro, and hope everyone's doing well back in God's country.
We are doing well. Mr. Prep Extra, Jesse Smithey in the house with us also.
Hello, Jesse.
What's
How
up,
you
man?
doing?
Good. Well, Charles, talk about what I know it's an evolution with your role with Gus Johnson yearly, and then the coverage on Fox. Kind of talk about what you'll be doing in terms of the college game and where we can find your games with Gus this fall.
We'll be doing the same thing we did last year, except now instead of being on FX, we'll be on Big Fox, as we like to call it, on regular Fox. So, primetime game most of the year, except for during World Series time. Then we'll go to probably late afternoon games leading into the World Series. And Big 12, Pac-12 predominant. First three games that I know of are Hawaii at USC, Nebraska at UCLA, and then Stanford at USC. So we're really happy with our early schedule, that's for sure, before we get some Big 12 games coming up. And I've heard a rumor about Oklahoma and Kansas State and Texas and Oklahoma State, and maybe even down the road West Virginia, Oklahoma, if that one turns out to be what we think it is. But we're real pleased, real excited about having that, and looking forward to continuing to work next to the man who moves the needle, and that's Gus Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Charles, we had you on back around, I think, the NFL Combine time. You shared a little anecdote where you texted Derek Dooley a picture of a guy that you saw and said, "Hey, when's Tennessee going to get more players that look like?" Yeah, have you checked Tennessee's roster out lately? I think they picked up a few guys that are that big.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I think I told you when I texted him. He said, "Relax, they're coming, and he was right. So I'm real happy with that, and happy for Coach Dooley and the program, and really looking forward to seeing them go ahead and put it out on the field this year. I think there's a reason for cautious excitement around there, cautious optimism, just because of the way things have been in recent years. It can't be unbridled yet because the fellas still have to prove it. But I think they've got that feeling about going out and doing it. And I really like the fact that they're away from campus training. Hopefully that'll work as a great bonding experience for them near my place of birth. They're down there near Elizabethton, and that's where I was born and where my heart always resides.
We're visiting with Charles Davis from Fox Sports and NFL Network, and we'll get to some NFL here in just 1 second. Charles, tomorrow Lane Kiffin will join us at 11:45 live on the show. So if you're in our seat, we've got to go to the expert here. If you're in our seat, what are a couple things that you want to know from Lane Kiffin if you're in our position?
One, I think obviously the Penn State thing overarches everything that we do right now, and he's going to be the beneficiary of one of the better players from Penn State, if not the best one that was thinking about leaving. That's Silas Redd, the running back. But one of the things I think people have overlooked is depth was a problem for them at tailback in terms of numbers, but it wasn't really a problem in terms of talent. See, Curtis McNeil, who was the supposed starter and might still be, even though he's a little diminutive in stature, he's over a 1,000-yard rusher last year and only started, I'd say, less than half the season. And behind him is Amir Carlisle, who began the year as a starter as a freshman, but kept putting the ball on the ground. Now, look, Tiki Barber used to put the ball on the ground for the Giants. Tom Coughlin and the Giants fixed that. Tiki had a great career and is borderline Hall of Fame guy, despite how everything ended and, of course, with all the controversy. But the numbers were up there. So it can be fixed, and so it's just a number in terms of depth. But getting Silas Redd, what does that mean? I mean, why do that? Why go to Penn State and get a kid? Why do that? Even though we know their numbers are down, but you've got guys there. How do you explain that to the kids you've got there who put the numbers on the board for you last year? The other part is Barkley. What kind of advice did he give Barkley about coming out last year? I mean, when you look at the top of the draft, you guys know as well as every listener out there, it's a quarterback-driven league in the NFL. No ifs, ands, or buts. And Luck and Griffin III went 1 and 2. Was there? Did he talk to the pros? Was there discussion about him being 1, 2, 3? What led the kid to come back? Did Lane have a hand in that at all? Did he advise him actually to go? Because sometimes that happens. Coach is like, kid, you need to go. And the kid's like, I really love it here. And I never played in a bowl game, and here he is. And last but not least, how's he going to manage this season? Expectations are through the roof for them, even though they are down 10 scholarships. So anytime they get a ding or a guy hurt, they could have some major trouble. They already lost a defensive lineman, Devon Kennard, with a pectoral problem. He ended up, I think, tearing a pectoral muscle in a workout. So he's down for at least half the season, it looks like. How's he going to manage expectations around there, or does he just embrace them? So I'm just trying to give you the football stuff because I know, him coming back on the show back in Tennessee can lead to a whole lot of other things. I'm just trying to stick to the football.
That's true. We covered a lot of that. We covered a lot of that last year, so I don't anticipate that being.
I know for you, it's going to be okay. That part I'm not worried about. I think for others, that could be a whole different ball of wax. But I can tell you this. I covered SC last year and had them 2 or 3 times during the season and what have you. As much as it was a tough situation with Lane leaving as he did, and I wasn't thrilled about it myself because, we are not a place that's a stepping stone. You've heard me say that many times. Tennessee's a destination place. You get to Tennessee, you're never supposed to want to leave. We're supposed to run you out. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, that's coaching. Okay, you come here and you're supposed to want to stay for life. And when he left like that, there were a lot of hurt feelings on our part. But I know this about him. Our kids played hard. Okay, we won some games maybe we weren't supposed to win that year. We were in that Virginia Tech bowl game, third quarter. If we catch the touchdown pass, things might change a little bit. It doesn't happen right on down the line. The kids played hard. They worked hard. Look, we took Florida. I mean, as much as everybody thought Florida was going to grind us with Urban and all the stuff, we battled the heck out of them in that 1 year there. So with Lane Kiffin, what you're going to get teams that are going to play hard. You're going to get teams that are going to play pretty darn smart for the most part. And you're going to get teams that you're going to have to battle all the way through. And his team got better and better last year at USC. I mean, you saw what they did with Oregon, winning at Oregon. The only reason they didn't play a second time is because they were ineligible to win the South Division title in the Pac-12 and go on. They would have had a titanic game, and trust me, I was part of the broadcast team that did the Pac-12 title game. Who do you think I would have rather had face Oregon in that title game, USC or UCLA last year?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty easy, right?
Yep.
But they were ineligible, so we couldn't have them. So we got UCLA, who came in at 6-6, and we knew what was going to happen, and it did, and they ended up going to a bowl at 6-7. So, this year they're eligible. Here's hoping that it works out that way. I think they play for the first time against Oregon November the 3rd, and we all believe firmly that if everything goes the way we all project, which of course means it has to happen that way, right? Because, we all know what the heck we're talking about.
Right.
We expect them to play a second time and be there for the Pac-12 title game, but we'll see.
Charles, you mentioned Matt Barkley, and you assessed his situation there regarding the NFL draft, staying in college. Over at Tennessee's side with Bray, there have been preseason publications and are just different media outlets that project him as the number 1 pick in next year's draft. You don't really have to dismiss that, but just maybe talk about what Tyler needs to do to meet those expectations.
Well, what he's going to have to do, he's going to have to be a different Tyler Bray. I had the pleasure of meeting Tyler this year at the Manning Passing Academy, where I got to meet a bunch of the quarterbacks that are going to be gracing our great fields this fall and watch them work and watch them interact. And frankly speaking, when I met Tyler the first time, I wasn't very impressed. I thought, wow, so this is our quarterback. He's not a very outgoing, engaging type of guy at an initial meeting. Kind of like, kind of almost dismissive when I met him. Went over and introduced myself, so I was a former Vol and the whole thing. I was like, yeah, okay. And I thought, okay, now look, I'm not royalty. You don't have to kiss any rings or anything, but former Vol to former Vol, right? So I said, okay, interesting. As the week went on, he grew on me. I got to spend more time with him. He's one of those kids that I believe firmly that your initial may not be what you get in the end, but he's going to have to work on that in a big way, guys, because when he's going out there, let's say he has a big year this year, and let's say that becomes part of what happens, that maybe there's a possibility he's going to go out there. He's got all those people judging him from the moment they lock eyes onto him. See, what he's got to understand is that this NFL types, when you go to the combine, when you go to a senior, go to an all-star game, when you go to any situation, they are checking you out. When they come to town and watch film on you, they're not just asking your coaches. They may go to a professor and check on you. They may go down and just sit at the local mart. They may go down to Gus's. And, hey, give me that Gus burger. Hey, how about Bray? Great kid. What kind of kid is he? He a good kid? He come in here, we see him? I'm telling you, they check everything on you. That's what Tyler has to be aware of. I watched him throw. The kid can fling it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He can flat out sling it. I was standing next to another prominent quarterback, not a college kid, an NFL guy. I'm not going to name who he was. I said, what do you think? He said, well, the kid can sling it. There's no doubt about it. But, boy, he needs a kick in the butt. Those are the things that Tyler's going to have to work on. I talk with Tennessee guys. They've told me that he's come light years in the time he's been there. I liked him. By the time I left, I liked the kid. I just worry about the initials. And you know how it is, guys. It's not often that, what they said, what our parents always teach us, you only get one chance to make a first impression. That's what I worry about with him. I hope that continues to progress. I think that he's doing a good job. And if he continues on that path, he'll have an opportunity. I will tell you this. I saw the kid from NC State throw it. So if everybody's getting ready for NC State, better be prepared because Mike Glennon can fling it.
But as far as Tyler Bray, say he does come out after this year, chances are he's going to be in one of those one-on-one sessions with John Gruden. If he comes in there, like you said, dismissive as it is, Gruden's going to chew him up, right?
Yeah, but, John, and I love John. John's one of my best friends in the world. How did that go with Cam Newton?
Pretty well for Cam.
Yeah, but I'm saying on that session, Cam got killed.
Yeah.
You remember? Cam got destroyed.
But he overcame it.
How'd that turn out?
Yeah.
So remember, we do TV, okay? It's not always. I mean, the sessions John does are fantastic.
Yep.
And they can give you an insight and a window into a kid, but they're not the be-all, end-all. Because otherwise, there are a few guys I've seen go through John's sessions where I'm like, that kid cannot, there's no way. And that kid's turned out okay. You know what I mean? It's just one of those deals. And how you catch them on a certain day, how they were trained in college, what they went through. Cam has assimilated quite well, if I would do say so. I think he's doing just fine. Not worried about it. So, yeah, it doesn't give you sometimes you don't get a good glimpse into a kid, or you get a glimpse into a kid and you walk away and go, you got to be kidding me. Then a year later you're fooled. So we'll see how it goes. And here's hoping Tyler sits up there and does that, because it'll be great for him. If he continues to mature and go, he's got talent, guys. You know that. I mean, you've seen him. He can fling it like anyone can in the country. And I saw some guys really throw the football well at this camp. What they have ahead of Tyler right now, those that would be ranked ahead of him, is they kind of know how to play the game a little bit. They know how to have that polish in addition to their game. Barkley's got that in spades. Tyler Wilson at Arkansas has that down, and he's continuing to still work on it. They're trying to push him forward more as a leader. Geno Smith at West Virginia can throw the football very well and has the leadership qualities down. Tyler keeps adding those, he'd be right in there with them. Glennon, I can go right on down the line of the kids I saw. They were a pretty impressive group of arms, and there were a bunch of kids I expected to see that weren't there.
Charles Davis from Fox Sports NFL Network joining us here on the new Sentinel Sports Page. Vince Ferrara and Jesse Smithey. Real quick on the NFL, Charles, before we let you go, your thoughts on the New Orleans Saints, the way they've handled all the offseason, got the preseason underway last night with the win over the Cardinals. What do you expect from them, and how do you think they'll handle this situation they're dealing with?
I think they'll handle it well. I've never had too much doubt about it. Guys, if this had happened now, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As we head into the season, if it had happened in June, I'd have a lot more doubts about this team. But they've had a long time to assimilate and deal with this. They've had a long time to put this into their system. The one thing I worry about with them is they're angry and they're ticked off, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you ever tried to stay angry at someone for a long, long time? It's not easily done. Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, I don't know if you guys are married or not, but you ever been really, really mad at your spouse?
Never.
And you're like, that's it. I will never forget this. And a week later, you're like, no, what was that all about again? And the only reason I bring that up is, they're playing for a cause. You've seen the picture of Sean Payton in the practice facility, right? And the owner put that up there. You know how they feel about seeing Drew Brees now jump to the front, which I think he's done a magnificent job of being a leader and defending his team. I think that's wonderful. I think in a private room, Commissioner Goodell actually admires that Drew spoke out against him. That's what leaders do. You take care of your own. But, guys, we're talking about 20 weeks of football, counting preseason, 21 weeks, and then getting to the playoffs. It's a long time to stay angry. I wonder if at some point that works to their detriment instead of to their benefit. That's the only thing I worry about with them. They're talented enough to win their division and go to the playoffs easily.
Never enough time with former Vol Charles Davis here on the new Sentinel Sports Page. Charles, great to visit with you as always.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Tell everyone back in God's country hello for me, and I always carry Tennessee in my heart everywhere I go, and here's rooting for the Vols, and And here's hoping I don't actually have to broadcast the game so everyone will call me a homer.
And there's so much I wanted to. We'll talk to you again soon, Charles. There's a lot of other things.
Anytime. You know that, Vince. Bye, Jesse.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Charles. That is Charles Davis joining us here on the new Sentinel Sports page.